Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of day 5, week 2 of ALYFE Connects, our very first virtual-only event brought to you exclusively by ALYFE Group. Excuse me. This afternoon, we are delighted to welcome with us a commercial and business expert who can provide, we think, the perfect practical remedy for innovation during these trying times. We welcome Jonathan Quek, founder and CVO, that's Chief Visionary Officer, of the Owners Circle, a venture builder which he founded 3 years ago with visionary entrepreneurs with the mission to help SME business owners and business leaders to achieve massive transformational growth through proven strategies and tools. Now, if we cast our minds all the way back to the beginning of this MCO, I think it was 5 weeks ago now, on the second day of that, Jonathan was forced to create a training program which helped close to 300 business owners within the Owners Circle strategize to stay relevant during the crisis created by the coronavirus period, despite the challenges of the marketplace. And today, many of them have managed to pivot, profit, and prevail as thought leaders of their industries while their competitors stay fearful. Within the course of 1.5 months, he's been invited by international trainers and speakers from across Asia and beyond to share with their audiences of business owners across Singapore, Thailand, India, Cambodia, even as far as Japan. Jonathan believes that in times of crisis, the slower you move, the faster you die. And one wrong move is the fastest way to die. He believes that in challenging times, entrepreneurs do not need ideologies or concepts, but rather proven practical tools and strategies to realistically make money. So we are very, very excited to welcome Jonathan and his expertise with us this afternoon. So please help me welcome Mr. Jonathan Quek. Good afternoon.
Hi, afternoon, Jacob. Thank you so much for having me.
No, of course, Jonathan, it really is our pleasure. We're very grateful that you can make the time. I know you have a very busy schedule. You're being invited by audiences, or you're being invited to speak to audiences from across Asia, Asia Pacific, and I'm sure further afield very soon. So we really appreciate you making the time for our audience here at ALYFE Connects. So thank you for that.
All right, cool. So what I'm going to do today is this. Since we have an hour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give your audience a tool. And why I like to look at tools is because when you have tools, you're able to work on it. When you have ideas, you might still not be able to work on it, right? So I'm just going to do a 30-minute presentation so that your guys can benefit from this tool, and then we are able to move on to make sure that we are able to help more people to pivot during this crisis. So I'd like to start with this presentation. Yeah. So this morning, thank you so much, Jacob. So this morning, our PM has announced that almost all economic sectors, business activities can resume operations under what we call conditional MCO starting from 4th of May. And that's Monday. And that's 3 more days. I think this is amazing news for many people out there, especially for many business owners. They're excited, right? They're excited that business is going to be as usual. But as I'm going to speak today, I'm going to be a spoil sport. I'm going to be very practical and realistic here. In my opinion, the biggest threat for most business owners is this. They will try to look to information that can give them certain certainty. And this is what I call confirmation biasness. And my personal opinion is this. My personal opinion that is business unusual is still the new usual. Whatever we are going through in the past 1.5 months, that's being caused by the coronavirus crisis, that's being caused by the lockdown, is still gonna persist. Right? The fact that although shops are gonna open, I know shops are going to be open, right? Like what we're talking right now. This is a graph that shows that MCO will be imposed for 60 days and then will be lifted. But the moment it's gonna be lifted, what's gonna happen is a conditional MCO means that you will have a restaurant, not more than 4 people per table. Tables will have a certain distance from each other. And what's going to happen is guests who goes to a restaurant have to register their name, phone number, show their IC number. And what's happening is this. All these kind of, whatever they're putting in to get people to be careful is going to deter customers from going to shopping malls, from going to restaurants. Okay. And whatever I'm sharing with you, I'm not sharing my suggestion. I'm sharing with you what's happening in China. Because even though China, Wuhan, Beijing, Shanghai, they have lifted their lockdown, but the fact is people are still not spending. People still do not want to go out there and spend. And it's not because of financial issues, but because of it's so inconvenient for you to go to a restaurant to just have a very simple meal. So what I'd like to share with you guys is this: the fact that this crisis has brought many danger to many business owners. My belief is this danger will still continue, right? As long as you do not pivot, you will still face danger. And in this presentation that I'm going to do with you guys in today's Q&A, what I hope to do is I'll be able to help as many business owners out there to be able to not only get out of danger, but to survive and to be able to thrive, right? To start to see opportunities during this crisis. And my humble truth is I was never meant to do this. I was never a crisis innovation strategist. And the reason why I have this program today, which is now being run in 5 countries, is because when the crisis took place, all these business owners were coming to me and they needed me to give them a solution. I run this business called Owner Circle. We primarily help small, medium business owners to achieve massive transformational growth through practical tools and training. And at the point of time, it was no longer about growth. Our business was completely irrelevant because now every business owners have only one thing in mind: survival. So this is my mastermind group, which I mentor and coach these entrepreneurs on monthly basis. So I've entrepreneurs of diverse industries, right? You have someone who is in F&B, someone who is in vet, someone who is selling cups like this. This is the Stoke Cup. Someone who is running an audio engineering firm. And I have so many different businesses in very diverse industries. So what happened was I had to create training that can cater to all of them. So I created a tool and a training, and I'd like to share that with you. This is a tool which I shared with them 6 weeks ago, right, on day 2 of the crisis, and many of them have pivoted. So today I'm going to share with you guys this tool, and then I'm going to share with you case studies, and I hope that this can inspire you to also innovate during this crisis, right? So for you guys who are listening here, prepare a pen and paper, right? Go through this with me. Now, I believe that the framework during this crisis is this. In order for any business owners to make money, you got to focus on 3 things. The first thing is this: you got to learn how do you attract customers. This refers to marketing. What is your marketing message? What is your marketing channel? And once you're able to hook onto these clients, these potential customers, I call them prospects. What you want to do is you want to turn your prospects to become your customers or your clients. And that's why you want to be able to convert them. And once you're able to convert them, once the deal is done, it's not done until you deliver your goods, you deliver your promise, or you deliver your services. So this is where you got to deliver, right? Now, the fact about this entire crisis is this. The current emotions in the market is most people are fearful. So what happens is whatever message that you were promoting 6 weeks ago, today is completely irrelevant and is completely ignored. So what is happening as well is the reason why people are not buying your goods and services is because today your products, your service is no longer a need to have, but what I call a nice to have. Okay. And no matter how you continue to push, what is going to happen is the only way you can get people to buy is by what I call pity selling. Pity selling means you say, hey guys, I'm going bankrupt. Please help us. Please buy from us. Or maybe you slash your price and you do a pre-order model, right? You slash by 50% discount and say, buy now, please help me and buy now, right? So that's the only way you can sell. The third thing about delivery is this. At this point of time, for most businesses, they're no longer able to deliver a physical experience, right? Especially in retail, F&B, including a lot of consultancy services. So what's happening is this. You got to identify that the fact is the market is fearful. And when the market is so high in emotions, what happens is everyone is looking for that one thought leader who can come in to instill confidence in the market. So my suggestion to every entrepreneur out there is this. You want to look into how can you move your market, your customers from fear to confidence. And in order for you to do so, you want to come up with a marketing message that's completely compelling and followed. Okay. And once you're able to do that, you also want to innovate your product offering to be what I call a not nice to have, but to what I call a need to have. Okay. And the last thing is this. You want to identify that because of social distancing, today, it has to be a virtual experience, right? So as a thought leader, what you want to do is this. You want to stop being a consumer of media, and you want to start being a creator of content. Okay, you want to stop continuing with whatever message that you have been doing all this while. You have to acknowledge that it's totally irrelevant right now, and you will start contextualizing fears. You will start contextualizing the feeling that your customers are feeling right now, and then you want to move away from being what I call a product focused entrepreneur to what I call a market focused entrepreneur. Ask yourself, what is it that your market need right now? Why is it that your market want right now? Because very often, if you can give your customers what they want, they will give you what you need, right? The biggest challenge, in my opinion, why many entrepreneurs are suffering right now is this, is because they are so stuck in how can I push my product, right? So the question right now is this, what is it that your customers really want? And you're gonna ask that question. Give your customers what they want, and they'll give you what you need. And the third thing about delivery is this, you gotta start to be able to create contents and to create context. I call this the profitable partnerships. This is the time when we are seeing a lot of collaborations going on, right? And you got to do that. This is not a time when you will fight this war yourself, right? This is, if you really think about it, this is not so much more about business. This is as much about war compared to business, right? And in this war against coronavirus crisis, against the lockdown, this is where you might even want to consider going to your competitors to say, hey, how can we work together to make sure we both survive during this crisis? Okay? And if you can't work with your competitor, go and work with someone else. Someone where you can create a collaboration to go into a new market, okay? Or to create a new product offering. So if you truly understand this framework, what you need next is this. You need what I call the Crisis Innovation Canvas. And the Crisis Innovation Canvas is a tool that I created primarily to make sure every business owners out there know how to not only be able to pivot their own mindset, but able to use this tool to work with their teams to make sure their teams are on the same page as well. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how this Crisis Innovation Canvas work. Then I'm going to show you guys some case studies, and then we'll do some Q&As. Now, I'll give you a case study of this student of mine. She runs a restaurant called Mythology. It's a steakhouse in TTDI. They're called the Flaming Meat Hub because they have this very famous dish called the steak on fire, right? So at this point of time, what happens when nobody wants to go to the restaurant and eat steak? And what she used to do is she'll flame this steak up and then she'll serve it to you, right? So there's a showmanship involved, which is why people love to go to Mythology. Now, at this point of time, her goal is this. Her goal is to stop having customers feeling bored at home and being able to enjoy food. So whatever message that she had, whatever products that she had, today is completely irrelevant. It's now a nice to have product. The whole physical experience of watching her flaming the meat in the restaurant is totally irrelevant at this point of time. So what can she do? This is the time for you to pivot, right? So many people talk about this word pivot, but my question is how? How do you pivot? So now today she pivoted to a compelling message where she have this new product called the crackling shoe yolk. And this is how she does it. What she will do is she will cook this meat, this shoe yolk on Facebook Live. Go and check out her Facebook Live. You'll see her poking needles into the meat. And then she will show it to the screen and people will start messaging her, like, why are you poking needles to the meat? And then she'll share that, the reason why she poke all this, she do all this stuff is to make the meat more crispy, right? Make the skin more crispy. So what she does is this. If you go to a Facebook Live, you'll see her posting ads like this, like turn on your sound to listen to how crispy the skin of this shoe yolk is. And what you'll see is you'll see her cutting the meat, crack, crack, crack. You hear that crackling sound, and then she'll open up the meat, show it to the screen, and people love it. And at this point of time, people will start to ask, how do I order? And then she will give a call to action where she'll tell people you can order this shoe yolk for delivery. And the call to action is you buy online on a website and she'll deliver it to your home. Okay, so this is a bit about her. A company which was suffering very badly on the first week of crisis. From first week to last week, which was 6 weeks time, they managed to grow by 12 times in terms of sales per day, right? So what did they do? Pivoting, right? Innovating during this crisis. I'll share you another case study. Another student of mine, she runs this organic food, and what she does is she supplies to major shopping malls, major supermarkets. And at this point of time, when crisis took place, she thought that everything was okay. because supermarkets were still open. But what happened was this: people weren't buying organic food. So what she did was she took this tool, and I highly encourage you guys who run a team to use this tool as well. Work with your team, get them to work on their ideas. What do they think they can do for the business to pivot during this crisis? So she got the staff to work through it. These are all from her colleagues, her team members, her directors. And what happened next was this: she then pivoted. All these messages are irrelevant, right? Affordability, reliability, all these are now irrelevant. Now she pivoted to a marketing offering, a marketing message that's totally relevant to the current situation, boosting immune system together. They also came out with ads like this: lockdown with a fun and healthy lifestyle, right? Fat more, shit more, pee more, and this became viral, right? And when it became viral, people start looking at it, people start buying from her, and this is another ad by her as well. Okay. So this is another case study of another entrepreneur who have used this tool to make sure she's able to pivot and to realistically make money during this crisis. Another case study, gym. I know there's a lot of fitness guy here, right? A lot of good-looking people at ALYFE. And this is a student of mine who consults gym, used this tool, right? And what he did was he managed to get the team, this gym, to create a campaign called Fight COVID-19. And what they do is they bring all customers on a Facebook group. They will go on Zoom calls to exercise together. They will share their progress together on the Facebook group. And this is how they continue to stay relevant, continue to make profits, continue to make cash flow. And most importantly, he has also created another source of income. How? By selling food, by working with restaurants who have abundance of ingredients right now, right? Their team is there, but they are lacking of business. They went to partnerships, right? This is what I call profitable partnership. So today he has also created partnerships with F&Bs to supply healthy food to his customers. I'd like to give you more case studies. In my class, these are some of the entrepreneurs who have attended my class and have innovated during this crisis. One case study will be Penang famous Teochew Chendol. I'm sure most of you have seen them before. Old brand, established brand. During this crisis, they were stuck. But cut long story short, after this crisis, they managed to innovate during this class. The founder brought 7 of his management team, came for my class, innovated, created the DIY kit for Chendol, created an entire sales offer, and they managed to hit 10,000 ringgit in 4 days with this new offer. I'll give you another case study, event management. Now, many people are telling me this, event management is dead because for the next 6 months, there's no way you can run any events anymore. Okay, but this student of mine attended my class on day 1 itself, came up with a new idea. And the idea was this, okay? The idea got them to make around 13,000 ringgit in 2 days. Okay, remember, this is event management company, and this is the invoice that they receive. Okay, and as you can see here, when attending this class, but just 3 days, they pivoted the offline business to online business, reinvented the business, brought in 13,000 ringgit in 3 days. So how did they do it? They created the Malaysia's first ever virtual AGM, right, with Ren Hill, and they are now doing it with Busan Malaysia and Nestle. Okay, so in my opinion, it's never a matter of resources. Many people are saying, I don't have enough resources. No, it's always a question of resourcefulness. How resourceful are you to make sure you're able to pivot your business, realistically make money, and seize the opportunity during this crisis? I'll give you another case study, right? And all these case studies I'm going to show you, the next one will be this. Many people tell me this, you got to go online, right? No, not true. Not necessary. Why? This case study is this student of mine attended my training. They run a home sharing operator, right? So it's an Airbnb business. You see Tony Fernandez there because Tony Fernandez invested in his business. So Tony Fernandez is kind of his business partner here. And what happened was when Asia was screwed, right? He came over to our training and he said this: at the start of MCO, we were the Malaysia's largest and fastest growing home sharing operator. Just recently, 18 months ago, AirAsia has invested into them, but AirAsia was brought down to the knees as well. And what happened was, them being the smallest company in the group, they went to hibernation. And thank God they attended this training. And what did they do? They went to sanitization business because they have all these cleaners And these cleaners are no longer cleaning houses, no longer cleaning rooms. So what did they do? They set up a new entity called Protect Plus. And they use all these cleaners to go out there to secure sanitization job. And guess what? By day 2 of the training, they made around 69,000 ringgit. And right now they are on track to go out there to make their first 1 million ringgit from Protect Plus. So my key here is this. My key here is you got to innovate during this crisis. Right? If you don't change, you will be changed. Personally, as I speak to you, I walk the talk as well. I was never meant to do all these virtual webinars. I was never meant to do Facebook Live, right? I did not have any one of these gears that you're seeing in my room right here, right now. We have been doing offline events for the past 3 years. And it's only during this crisis, we had no choice. We had to innovate as well, right? So this is the time you got to understand that if you don't change, you will be changed. So the essence of the crisis innovation strategy is this. Number 1, stop being a victim, start being a victor. Number 2, stop generalizing whatever message they've been talking. It's time to stop all this. It's time to start contextualizing fears, and it's time to start creating confidence to your market. Number 3, stop being a consumer of content. Today, the social media is overloaded with information, right? But what is happening is this. The market is starving for wisdom. It's time for you to become the thought leader of your market, to start creating solutions, start creating content, start creating context. Okay? Start forging profitable partnerships to create more solutions to your market. Number 4, stop being a product-focused entrepreneur. The reason why most entrepreneurs are stuck is because they're so focused on how can I sell my product. No. Start changing another angle and look at it. The guys who are paying you your bills, what do they really need? Start focusing on your market. All right, so I hope that this session has been good for you guys so far who's listening here. If you want to download this tool, scan this QR code, download this tool, right? Watch this video again, use it again and again, get your teams to watch it together. And I hope that you guys out there will be able to innovate your business, realistically make money without bursting your budget, without hiring more people, or even without losing sleep. All right, so for those who have enjoyed this session, before I go into Q&A, I'd like to share my social media followings. You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, or you can also follow my company's social media as well. This is Owner Circle Asia. All right, so thank you so much. I'm going to go into Q&A right now with Jacob. All right.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you very much for sharing some fascinating stories and some very motivating and inspiring ones too. And like you pointed out, I think the victor versus victim mentality is what's really going to make the difference for a lot of people during these times. It's easy to try and fall back on what did you call them, pity sales, and try and reach customers that way. But actually, if you can meet the needs of your customers where they really need them, then there is no reason why people will stop spending money with you. So and you shared some very interesting examples there, and worth adding from a few different industries. From food. And F&B has been suffering and will, as you point out, I think, and I agree, will continue to suffer because it's like it's almost like a poisoned chalice or like a double-edged sword. Like, it's great that they can reopen, but it means that malls will charge them full rent and so on. So I think that's a very interesting insight. But anyway, so from sharing innovation responses, stories in F&B to event management, which, as you pointed out, is an industry which many have already started sounding the death bell for, the death knell. It shows that even with a bit of resourcefulness and a bit of creativity and a bit of positive thinking, I suppose, with the victim thing, anybody truly can, as you put it, pivot, profit, and prevail. And not just it's not just about damage control. It's actually about maybe taking your business to another level. Like you said, was it the homeowners business, the home sharing, who now went into the sanitation side of things? They're going to make their first million, almost, So they're doing better than before. I gather. So I think, yeah, fascinating insights, and thank you very much for coming on board and sharing this with us, and for being so generous with your with your examples and your sharing. I know that it's a very, I don't want to say very exclusive, because that sounds as if it's not open to everybody, which of course it is. But I mean, it's good to see that you are happy to share insights from your Facebook group with us and give us just a little taste of the magic that we can find in there. By the way, we will be putting in the comments below the video on Facebook if you're watching there. We are proud to announce that through partnership with Jonathan, we are able to offer an extremely good rate on the Crisis Innovation Strategy course that you're offering on your website. Now, I believe there's something like over 15,000 ringgits worth of training there from, across all of the modules and the workshops that you're offering as part of the course. But you're offering the course as a package deal for, I think, just under 1,000. So it's something like 990 ringgit. But if you proceed to the checkout and enter the code ALYFE, that's ALYFE, not ALYFE Group, just ALYFE, you will get 50% off. So you can access hours worth of expert insights and material and innovation canvases and other assets like that for 10%. No, that's not right. Whatever percent 500 is of 15,000 is the percent that we are offering this deal to you today. So we will post that link in the comments below. Do check it out, because even if, it's great to hear this morning that we are seeing a partial lockdown being lifted and what have you, but definitely we need to proceed with caution. The industry, the market, the economy is not just going to go back to normal like that, of course. And there will be a lot of careful treading, I suppose, from a lot of people. And as you say, industries will respond to this in different ways, like F&B, for example, with malls. So there will still be a lot of caution to be exercised. And it is of course best to assume that, we are still very much in the middle of all this, and should respond accordingly. And I think your pivot strategy and your innovation canvas is a great model of doing so. So, I had a couple of questions in mind, but actually you answered them in the talk, because I was going to ask you what is like the most interesting or, not unusual, but maybe interesting, like kind of example of an industry you've seen, but then you answered that. And I think the sanitation pivot for the homeowners guys, that was fascinating. What else do you think, like when it comes to say like travel, like the travel industry as we know it will not be the same for a long time because of the not just the lockdowns in place in various areas, but also the very concept of traveling to these places. Like no one's going to want to get on a crowded airplane or what have you. So travel is an industry which is going to be affected for a long time. What do you think operators in this sector will be looking to do, or what do you think they can do when it comes to pivoting in this time?
So for travel industry, if there's one guy who I admire what he does is Tony Fernandez. I think he did well. Times are good, and at times are bad is where you truly get to see the character for entrepreneur. You get to know really he's a strategist, a tactical entrepreneur, or is he just a fluff, right? And I think Tony Fernandez has proven that he's a tactical entrepreneur out there. One of a very rare few. He knows his planes can't fly. Okay, there's no way his planes can fly, right? So now nobody can fly. And what he has done is he has hibernated his business, put the planes on the ground, and what he did was he acknowledged the fact that he's not a startup. He still has a lot of database. He has probably the most database of travelers all across Asia. So what's he doing now? He has repurposed his database. He has repurposed his assets to go into ALYFE.com, e-commerce platform selling all the stuff you get from the airport. He has repurposed as well his logistics team. They built this new company called Teleport.Asia. I thought that was a fantastic idea. So in my opinion, certain industries is so hard for you to pivot, right? I get it, right? Not every industries can pivot. But there are certain industries, what you are doing is your pivoting strategy has to be you hibernating your existing business, and then you want to reinvent itself, or you want to rebuild, or you will repurpose your assets somewhere else.
Yeah, so it's about transferring a database, or seeing what even down to maybe what transferable skills your workforce have. Like again, the cleaning thing with the sanitation, I thought that was a genius move. We have a good question here from Andy Lim, who of course many of you will know as my boss, our CEO, our founder of ALYFE Group. So he's loving the case studies. I'm wondering if you have more to share with particular reference to the service industry. For those of us,
Sure.
and I say us because ALYFE Group being one of them, we are a very, very service-oriented company, and our value, we like to think, or we know, is that we are curators, we are consultants, we are coordinators of various services, be they production or be they influencer marketing or something like that. That's like the bread and butter to what we do. Now, events is taking a hit, of course, as is production and so on. So for a business such as ourselves, what can we do? We're asking you directly, we're putting you on the spot. Save us, Jonathan.
My view is for many artists, I call you guys artists, right? Because artists are the guys who love what they do. They have amazing passion, they have a very strong purpose. A lot of artists are stuck because their paymasters can no longer pay. So my question would be this: who will pay? Okay. True. At the end of the day in business, the fact is nobody cares about your passion and purpose. They only care when you're able to solve their problem. Okay. So my question right now is, who has a problem right now who's willing to pay and you're able to deliver a service to them? So I'll give you an example. A guy who attended my class, he owns 6 outlets of English school in Penang and also KL, right? KL, Penang combined 6 outlets. Crisis took place, panicking, right? He could have gone into online education, do online English tuition center, but that's not what he did. So what he did was he repurposed his teachers. Can't share with how he did that because he wanted me to keep it secret, but repurposed his teachers somewhere else, rented them out, leased them out, and within a week of my training, he made 300,000 ringgit of sales. Wow. Okay, so my point is this: if your paymaster is not able to pay, okay, you want to ask yourself who else is making money right now and who else wants to pay. Okay, I'll give you another case study. A magician attended my class. When he came to my class, what he wanted to do was, he said he has done sales and he's a magician. He wanted to teach salespeople how to do magic. And I asked him why. I said, why would salespeople want to learn how to do magic? He said that they needed to know how to be able to attract customers, right? Charm their customers and then leave an lasting impression. But I told him this. I said, the fact is this: salespeople have pain, but they can't pay because most salespeople are stuck at home. The way they've been selling has been relationship selling, right? They sell their personality. I said they can't pay. There's no way they're gonna pay. So I asked him this. I said, who is gonna pay you? Okay? And I said, sometimes the person who's gonna pay you may not be the paymaster himself, right? The paymaster may not be the one who use it, but maybe the paymaster is someone who buys your product and services, and then they get someone else to do it. So we innovated. We found a new market, and the market is mothers. Mothers are tired of the kids bugging them all the time. Schools are not reopening. So they created a new platform teaching kids magic. Okay. And being the platform, he will coach you, get you to do some tricks, learn magic. Kids love it. Mothers are happy to pay so that their kids is occupied. Right. So my question for you guys is this: right, you guys are artists. If your paymaster is not paying right now, how can you repurpose your skill, innovate your offering, go into a new market? Go into a market which has pain and they are willing to pay.
Understood. Yeah. So it's interesting perspective. Okay. So it's about understand. Yeah. And again, going back to what you said at the very beginning, really understanding the needs of a customer, which in a time such as this are extremely fluid and none which you might anticipate. Like, for example, like mothers at home being driven crazy by the kids. Now, it's just a lot of people have accepted just this new reality as just a fact of life. Like, oh, schools are closed and we're all going to be at home. And a lot of people actually look at it as, oh, it's great. It's more time with the kids and it's more family time, which is great, which is true, but it's a very I guess personal and not professional way of looking at things. Do you see what I mean? So it's really about tuning into and anticipating like a market need based on a change in circumstances, which I think is excellent. We have a good question here from Arthur, Mr. Arthur Tan, who says the tool you've established looks simple, but I know it takes a lot of deep thinking skills to simplify. Of course. So what is your thought process on how you first established and came up with, I believe, I assume he's talking about the crisis innovation canvas, that way of thinking. Yeah. So which is beautifully simple, but behind it, of course, is a lot of deep thinking, and it takes a lot of very complicated thinking to make something like this look so simple. So share us a little bit, if you can. You don't want to give away your secrets, but if share with us what you can about the process behind this.
I'd love to share with you guys my secrets so that you guys are able to take action. I acknowledge that there's few secrets in life. Number one is if you keep things simple, when people are able to understand it well, when they have clarity, clarity gives you power. Clarity is what makes people take action. So the first thing I wanted to do was to keep it as simple as possible that even a 3-year-old kid understand what I'm talking about. Second thing is this. I think there's so much fluff in the whole business training industry, the industry that I'm in. You have people who are teaching you, pose with a nice car, and that's how you build a personal brand. There are people who teach you, take a award, that's how you build a brand, and then people want to do business with you. I think there's too much fluff in the market. And what I wanted to do was I want to focus on what works. I want to focus on tactics. I want to focus on strategies. And that's my goal. My goal is at this point of time, cut off the fluff. So what is that 20% of things that brings in 80% of results? We call it the Pareto principle. I'm sure most people heard of it before, right? The 20% of salespeople in an organization brings in 80% of sales. 20% of customers contributes 80% of your revenue. 20% of a country, of a nation, of these people owns 80% of the wealth. So it's always an 80-20 rule. My question was this: what is the 20% of the 20%? That 4%. That 4% that determines it all, right? What's the 4% that brings in 96% of results? And that was my goal. My goal was to find out what was the 4%. And other than that was because personally I went through one of the biggest crises of my business 5 years ago. Was a tough time for myself. Went to slight depression at one point of time. Was taking sleeping pills. Otherwise I couldn't sleep. And I guess it's really experiences like this that makes me truly understand what a SME owner, what a business owner is feeling right now. I think it's not easy for a business owner to run a business, right? Even for self-employed. I like to say that you guys are also running a business, because you're running a business when times are good, right? Everyone thinks you make a lot of money, right? Just because you're just spending a bit more. But when times are bad, who do you talk to? You can't talk to your parents, right? They will get worried. You can't talk to your spouse, right? You can't talk to your staff, right? And I felt that it was very hard for me at that point of time when I was going through what I was going through. I promised myself that one day, if I'm able to get through what I was going through, that crisis of mine, I want to turn that crisis into a gift for many people out there. So yeah, I guess one of the reason I was pushing myself so hard during this period of time was I went through that crisis myself, and I hope that no one had to go through that kind of pain and torture that I was going through again.
Well, it's an amazing personal story to share, and thank you for being so candid with us. It's always nice to know. It's always nice to cut through, if I may, just cut through the bullshit from time to time. As you pointed out, there's a lot of fluff, a lot of hot air in this industry. So sometimes it's nice to give it to tell it straight. Keep it simple, keep it sweet, keep it effective. So thank you for that, Jonathan. And it seems to have been certainly a formula that has worked for you, and I think the success of the owner circle will attest to that. And it's just led into you guys cover a whole load of modules, of topics, themes, strategies, exercises, everything within the workshops that you offer. Tell us a little bit more about. This is a question from Andy, actually. Tell us a little bit more about the crisis innovation strategy.
Okay. I'd like to share with you this screen in order for me to share.
You touched on it. Yeah, please do.
So my opinion is this: this crisis took place in March 17, 2020. The lockdown took place on that day. Today we have an announcement called temporary MCO is going to take place on 4th of May. But how long will this last? Nobody knows. We are predicting this to be a 6 to 18 months crisis. And the only way, in my opinion, we can get through this crisis is if someone is able to find a vaccine that can cure it all. Okay. Other than that, the whole social distancing is going to continue, and many business owners will be frightened. And why do I say that? Is because many business owners are fearful, they're panicking, they're upset, the emotions are high, they are not focusing on solution. So these guys are going to be frightened. It's just a matter of time. They will give up, they'll be frightened. It's so sad when I'm receiving messages that business owners are committing suicides, and I know the kind of stress that they're going through. And I just wish that they could have got into a new environment which will allow them to be what I call a strategy focused entrepreneur, right? And it's really the environment that you belong to is what really determines the kind of person you are. So my goal is really to be able to create an environment like that, an environment of strategy focused entrepreneur who recognize that in every crisis is a reset button. The big balls will the big balls no the big boys will fall, and when the big boys fall, right, this is the opportunity for you, the small ones, to have the opportunity to become big. And if you recognize that this is a reset button, what you want to do is you want to take this period of time to lay the foundation. And what you want to do is you will be able to preserve your business, pivot your offering, whether it's marketing or product offering, make a lot of money, achieve high level of profitability. And this can only take place when you have a bunch of friends. Everyone, every day you're looking at each other, making a lot of money, right? At that point of time, you realize that if you're not making money, something is wrong. Okay. So what I'm really doing is I'm creating a culture of champions who is truly pivoting during this crisis. Because what I believe is these tribe are the ones who's gonna be positioned to propel and to prosper after this crisis. So these are what I call the next market leaders. And when most people are fried, these are the guys who will be flying. So the crisis innovation strategy, our focus is this: to get you to become a strategy focused entrepreneur, to preserve your business, do whatever it takes to preserve your business. I will share with you step-by-step process. I will give you all my checklists, all my tools, and then I'll give you tools as well on where to pivot. Now that you know you want to pivot, but where to pivot, right? So I'll give you a tool on where to pivot, and then I'll share with you also a tool on how do you achieve maximum profitability during this crisis, so that you build your foundation right, and then as a community, we want to be able to position ourselves to fly after this crisis. Yeah, so that's what the crisis innovation strategy is all about.
Fascinating. I'm sure there is a lot. If the slides you showed previously are even 1%, I'm sure, of what you have to share with us in the full workshop, then our audience and our viewers have a lot to look forward to. So remember, guys, the link is in the comments below the Facebook video, and as we pointed out, with the code ALYFE, you're getting 50% off. 50% of the overall fee of $997, which in itself is a huge discount on the overall value of the trainings, which is, I think, totals between all of the different modules, because you've got like leadership and innovation, all these different modules and pillars to your course, right? And I think the total of all this training is well, actually priceless in many ways. I mean, the value is about 15,000, but like the true value in terms of being able to survive and innovate, and not just survive, but prosper during this time, I think it is literally priceless to any business, because this time, this crisis, this corona situation, I guess, hit us all very, very differently in ways we could never have imagined. So now is more time than ever, I think, to invest in the future of your business by investing very, very smartly in the way that you consider your business as a whole. Don't invest in like more stock for the sake of it, or whatever, depending on what your business might be. Invest in the thinking behind your business, because that will change your model completely. Very interesting, Jonathan. Thank you so much. I think if we have any more questions, I think we've covered the ones from Andy and Arthur. I don't think we have any more popping up. If you do, we have a small amount of time left. If you have any questions for Jonathan, do put them in the comments below. Like, his course is already excellent value, but we've got him for free while he's here, so make the most of him. And put your questions and comments in the comment box below, and we'll see if we can get around to them. I'm curious, and I'm intrigued to see what companies will do. What I've been referring to, a lot of things taking place that I've seen recently is we're seeing like the Netflixization almost of real life. You know, increasingly like virtual hangouts, virtual parties, virtual events, gatherings, even like virtual masses, you know, church sermons and whatnot, are all being done online now. So I think virtual is fast becoming the new reality. Ironically, virtual reality is now just the one thing. So that's a very interesting one, and it'll be interesting to see even now, or slowly now, as we go back to being able to gather in public. Now, obviously, mass gatherings are still banned, but it will be interesting to see just how many businesses or how many events stay online, maybe because people find they're generally more cost effective, or indeed how many more businesses will now implement work from home strategies moving forward, because they know that they've found out it's a way to keep teams are just as effective and engaged as long as you can do the work remotely, but you can cut your overheads in half by not having to hire a huge office space, for example. So there'll be a lot of interesting responses to the crisis. We have a question here from Andy. Actually, Andy's just come up. Andy's asking, what are some of the brands that you've worked with so far?
Well, I've worked with B2Bs, I've worked with B2Cs, share with you some of these case studies, like being famous to Chu Chandol, Sub Homes. These are the guys in F&B events. No, Airbnb. Ace Events are the guys who have been doing virtual conferences. Just this week itself, done training for some F&B players like Suzy Wong, Beer Factory, Beauty the Pot, Paradise Dynasty, Nadodi, Kikubari, O'Brien's, so many, man. Like this week, been doing so many trainings. This 15 days itself, train around 200 entrepreneurs and their leaders combined. Quite a lot of brands. Yeah, so these are some of the brands I've worked with in the past 2 weeks itself. Yeah.
Busy guy. And okay, we have another question here from Arthur, actually, which is something I was just about to ask. So Arthur, great minds. And that is, we were both curious then, what is your next action plan when we get back to normal, or the new normal as it will be? What is your action plan for when like the lockdown is fully lifted and so on? Will you maintain a big online presence for delivering your workshops, or will you prefer to give them in person? For example?
I think that these online programs will still prevail, but I miss my offline events. I think the offline events, after this whole social distancing, people connect again. I will meet Arthur and Andy for drinks again, right? Regret not meeting them before the crisis. Yeah, so I think moving ahead, the virtual events will still go on. Offline events will still go on. People will still have the human connection, the human touch. And this crisis innovation strategy that I have, I wish that Malaysia will get over it as soon as possible. But at this point of time, we have been working with other countries as well. Some countries, surprisingly, are more screwed up than Malaysia. Example, Singapore, at this point of time. Yeah, so we are bringing our trainings overseas as well. Yeah, so
you've been busy. You've been, Cambodia, Japan, Thailand, India have all been asking you to appear virtually. Do you mean, will you have plans to actually? I mean, I guess this is very difficult to say, but would you have plans to travel there one day as soon as you can to give an offline workshop?
Oh, definitely. I've been doing all this for the past 7 years. I've traveled India, Cambodia, Thailand, Korea to give talks and trainings. So I've done that before. So when this crisis took place, where I created this, it was quite easy for me to connect with these countries. So yeah, after this crisis is over, I can't wait to get out there. Hope that someone finds the vaccine so that I can speak and travel again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward. I mean, I was lucky enough to travel like just before like the situation really escalated all over the world, in fact. So, but I'm missing, I'm missing the beach. I miss going overseas. I miss the airport. I never thought I'd hear myself say that. But Yeah, we're all looking forward to getting back to that too. We have a couple more questions which I think we have time for because they're both pretty good. And the first one is an interesting one to tackle from Josephine Chase. So maybe this is sometimes, unfortunately, I don't want to sound too negative here, but sometimes, they're not always going to be success stories. Like sometimes you might find like the harsh reality is just another part of a struggle story more than a success one. But so Josephine's asking basically, were there any businesses that didn't manage to pivot to prevail, and why do you think that was the case?
All right. So to answer you, Josephine, I have 2 tiers of training. The first tier is the masterclass, where I have 3 days program where entrepreneurs go into that program, spend time for 3 days, and after that they continue their business. I've done a program called Growth Mastermind. And Mastermind is a program where all these entrepreneurs, I coach them personally. I meet them on a monthly basis. And right now, during this crisis, I meet them on a weekly basis. So I've just conducted my monthly review. And so far, thank God, all my members in Growth Mastermind, all of them are profitable. And the problem I have, and some of them are saying that they are making more money now than before. And the problem that I'm getting now is this: they are not able to access loans because when they show the bank, their sales went up. So that is the problem. So the guys under my mastermind, they have a different set of problems. So I can safely say, yeah.
Well,
I can safely say that. Yeah,
that's amazing. And guys, and for everyone watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, if you're watching this back at a later date, if you need any more proof of concept that Jonathan's workshops work, then you heard it there. Nobody in his Growth Mastermind seminars is not profitable, even during this time here. So I think that really speaks for itself. Like that should be on the bill. That should be on the headline. That should be your. That's your right there. That's amazing. So Jason thinks so too. Honestly, and this sounds awful because I do not wish, obviously I wish success on everybody. I do not wish anybody to fail, but I was kind of hoping that you did have maybe one story to tell. Just, I don't know, maybe a reality check or something. I don't know, because I was curious to know why the reason, like Josephine, I was curious to know why the reason might have been maybe the business owner didn't adjust quite as much. I don't know, something. I was kind of curious to hear, but no, too good to be true almost, Jonathan. That's very impressive. Congratulations, I guess, is all I can say. The last question we'll take then is from a Facebook user. I can't share their username, unfortunately, but they are inquiring again, sort of more about service businesses, but physical service businesses. I suppose you could categorize these. So massages, massage centers, spas, and beauty salons and whatnot. Even escape rooms businesses, which is an interesting example to give, but certainly very relevant, I think. What is your take on a category such as this? I don't know how you would categorize them. I might be completely off the mark here, but I think maybe a physical service based, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So my point of view is, if you're massage, spa, escape room, you're in trouble for sure, right? Because the kind of solution that you provide requires you to have a certain environment. And this is like fine dining business. I talked to the guys in fine dining. I said, no way you're gonna do delivery, right? Because the reason why people pay you is because they love your environment. They love that kind of service that you have. I said, you guys are screwed, right? What you need to do is you gotta repurpose. You gotta look into how can you use this database that you have, repurpose them into another business where you're able to be profitable there. Okay, so that's my view for massage, spa, and escape room. And the main reason is because you are selling your environment. Okay, so but remember this: you guys have database. You have database of people who are willing to pay, and for products like this, massages, spa, and escape room, people who are there generally financially they are more capable. Okay, they get to experience the luxury of life, right? Which means they're not so much on a survival stage. So you have the good database. What you want to do is you want to repurpose your business, repurpose your database, work with someone else on how can you be profitable at this point of time. However, beauty is not only about service environment. Beauty is about looking good. At this point of time, you can look into reinventing the way you have been offering your beauty products or beauty services to your customers. And when this crisis took place, the first thing I did was this. I feel very funny, right? When this crisis took place, everyone was on Facebook Live interviewing each other. What do you think? What do you think? And everyone sound like expert, but everyone is dying. I thought it was so funny. During this crisis, the first thing I did was I contacted my friends in Singapore, in China. Okay, contacted my friends in China, asked them what are your strategies, how do you get through this crisis, and I think this is what a lot of Malaysian entrepreneurs need to do, right? And beauty-wise, if you look into China, lots of case studies, how they've innovated offerings, how they innovated to go into a knowledge-based business and then sell products and then sell vouchers, combining these different offers into a whole structure, into a customer journey that ensures that customers will not only be able to pay you right now, it will also make sure that these customers continue to come back and spend after this crisis. So that's my take on beauty business. A lot of things can be done for beauty business, especially right now.
Yeah, agreed. And so, and again, it's important just to mention again, like you just mentioned again, the value of databasing and so on. So even if you can't pivot your product or service to match the market situation right now, take a step back, look at the bigger picture from a higher level, I suppose. Look at the database and look at a way that you could that would be of value to someone you could collaborate with, not just yourself, but maybe you could use that because when it comes to say lifestyle, beauty, and everything else, like you said, you've got a database of people who are willing to pay to look good. That might apply to a lot of potential collaborations with even competitors. Maybe this is the time to reach out and join hands and use that. So there's a lot to go at, I think. I think, and that brings us just nicely, Jonathan, to the hour mark. So that is unfortunately all we have time for, but I don't think you want to give too much away for free, although I know you love sharing your strategies and your secrets. But nevertheless, I think we've given away enough of the good stuff for now, and I think we can only encourage the audience to seek out your expertise further through the Crisis Innovation Workshop, which, by the way, I think is just one of several different courses that the Owner Circle offer. So check them out. I will share the banner here. Just give me 1 second, and also give Jonathan a follow on Instagram at Jonathan Quek CW. So find him there for updates and information on all of the courses and whatnot. And check out the academy.ownercircle.asia for all of the courses. ALYFE Group are proud to offer an amazing deal on the Crisis Innovation Strategy one. So check it out because it could just save your business. But for today, Jonathan, all we have left to say is thank you very, very much for joining us. That was an incredibly insightful talk, very informative, very interesting, and very inspiring, actually, I should add. Hopefully to anybody out there running or even part of a business, big or small, I think there is something to be learned there for everybody. So thank you very much. And the best of luck to you with the ongoing success. I hope that you're able to deliver more workshops in person soon and go offline, because I know that you love engaging with the audience in that way. So I hope, I hope the situation improves for all of us. But in the meantime, keep doing what you're doing because it's an amazing job and we are very grateful to you to have come on board this afternoon. So we'll say goodbye for now, but keep in touch and thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
No worries. Our pleasure. All right, there we go. Jonathan Quek, founder and chief visionary officer, CVO of the Owner Circle. I think with a very, very interesting and inspiring lesson for all of us that it is extremely possible, not just to survive, but to prosper, to pivot, profit, and prosper during this time of crisis and struggle. But on a happier note, there is light at the end of the lockdown tunnel with a partial lift of the MCO from Monday. Now that may not affect as many businesses as positively as we first thought, but I'm sure it will do a lot to ease a lot of struggles and burdens too. But nevertheless, this is definitely a time for innovation and action, and there is a lot to be taught at the Owner Circle in that regard. So check out the course in the comments below the Facebook group. We are offering an amazing partnership deal with the promo code ALYFE, not ALYFE Group, which gets you 50% off an already extremely valuable course for what you're getting back in return. So anyway, That is all the time we have for this afternoon. That is the end of session 2 of day 5 of week 2 of ALYFE Connects. We'll be back at 6 p.m. My colleague Howard will be joined by Jennifer Ling. We'll be hosting a bilingual session that's in Mandarin and English. Jennifer Ling is a social media influencer and content creator. She'll be joining us for an honest and open chat about life in the industry, how she survived during the MCO period, and what her career holds for her next. So for insights into the influencer market, join us at 6 p.m. before we wrap up another fantastic week tonight with a live DJ set by DJs Benji and Kenji from Dragonfly. That'll be me at 9 p.m. My colleague Howard will greet you at 6. Until then, stay safe, stay indoors if you can, and be well. Goodbye.